There's a guy called John Bainimarama, former Land Forces commander in your military force in Australia, saying that the biggest threat to you comes from within your own ranks. What do you say about that?
No, that's not true. In fact, the biggest threat to me was coming from officers, disgruntled officers like him, disloyal officers like Bainimarama.
He comes from Naitar Siri,
Yeah.
which was very much a stronghold of, well, all of the coups, really, I guess.
Yeah.
Is he part of a faction that is trying to destroy you, to get rid of you?
Well, he's part of the George Spade's faction and thinking, the mentality that came out of Parliament in 2000, and which we need to get rid of if we want to move forward. Really, that's really the mentality that we need to get rid of for us, for Fiji to move forward.
You say there were people in the military who wanted to kill him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
What, shoot him?
Shoot him, yeah.
On the spot?
On the spot.
For mutiny?
For mutiny.
And you stopped that?
I stopped that.
How did you do that?
I just told them not to.
He's now a research fellow at the Australian National University.
God help ANU.
In Canberra. God help the ANU.
Yeah.
How much support did he have in the military at the time, do you think?
None.
Do you think that you've isolated all potential threats to yourself in the military?
All gone.
So everybody in the military is loyal to you?
Yes.
There is no split?
There's no split.
As he says?
There's no split.
None?
None.
Can I ask you about the mutiny of 2000? You were nearly killed then, weren't you?
Yes.
How close a shave was it for you?
Very close.
Well, can you explain?
Well, we were here having lunch when the rebel soldiers came across, and 3 of my bodyguards then closed in and helped my escape. They held the fort here while I moved away from here.
Were you under gunfire, actual gunfire?
Yes.
So they were trying to kill you?
Yes.
There were bullets flying around your head?
Yes. Not only bullets, they had mortar bombs thrown in.
Mortars?
Yes.
Some people make much about your response to that mutiny. It's said that you wanted to kill Captain Stevens, Shane Stevens. Is that true, that you wanted to shoot him yourself personally?
No, that's not true. In fact, I was in hospital when he was brought in. I went to visit some of my soldiers that got shot that day. And I stopped the guys going in to bring him out. I saved the life of one of the guys that eventually got killed. Here, he was brought down to the naval base.
When you say you saved his life, saved the life
initially,
of the man who...
Yeah.
Oh, you stopped them from killing him then, but they killed him later
Well,
anyway.
I didn't stop them from killing him. I stopped them from bashing him up.
But they killed him later?
Sometime later on.
They were beaten to death, though, weren't they?
Well, they were beaten to death. I think it was the spur of the moment. And I can understand the emotions that went through the troops on that day. In fact, I can say that they were very lucky they all lived.
Did you want them dead?
Well, I didn't want them dead. I wanted them punished. You must understand that it was mutiny. These guys came in to kill us. I don't think a lot of people understand that. These guys came in to kill us. So people don't really expect us to go and kiss them on both cheeks.
What's your dream or vision of the kind of Fiji you'd like to see in 5, 10, 20 years' time?
One that's free of race. That's brought about the biggest problem that we've had in the last 20 years. That needs to be taken out.
So that's the notion amongst Fijian, indigenous Fijians, that they're better than everyone else?
Yes. And it's the lies that are fed to the indigenous Fijians that are causing this, especially our chiefs, because they are the dominating factor in our lives. And the politicians take advantage of that. And we come from a cannibalistic society. As I keep telling everyone, if you had lunch today, you would be on the menu because the color of your skin.
If you don't mind, keep me off the menu.
No, but what I'm saying is that is still very much alive now. If a chief, one of our chiefs was put in a corner, the dirty politicians would tell him, go back to that day And that's what they've been doing. The 2000 was 150 years back. And we need to get rid of that. We need to change direction in a dramatic way. We don't want to take another 30 years before we can come up with changes that we want done now. We have to stop somewhere and begin entirely on a new path.
A clean slate.
A clean slate. We need to get rid of Garase and everything that is associated with him, especially the SDL and everything that is associated with the 2000 coup. We need to get rid of that.
So that guy's never coming back?
He's not coming back, not in my book.
Over your dead body?
Over my dead body.
The problem is, of course, that Australia and New Zealand continue to support an election that would ensure his return.
I hope that's not going to happen.
But is it a time for a summit between you and Kevin Rudd and John Key to thrash this out?
Yes, we can have that again. If they're so willing to accept my explanations, I would love to do that.
Well, would you like to see them face to face to explain yourself?
Yes, I'd love to see them face to face and explain that.
Well, do you want to make an offer here for a meeting?
Well, I'll do that. Yeah, sure.
So a summit meeting of Australia, New Zealand and Fiji immediately?
Immediately.
Did you see Kevin Rudd coming to power and also John Key coming to power in New Zealand as an opportunity for a fresh start?
Well, I thought it was going to change the way Australia and New Zealand looked at us. But nothing has changed. I think they just, over the years, they just don't understand what's been happening in Fiji. No one has taken the time to sit them down, the leaders of these two nations, in the last 10, 15 years, to sit them down and tell them this is exactly what's happening. They've just been told what they want to hear.
Okay, so where do we go from here with the rest of the international community? You want a better relationship. What do they have to do in return?
It's Fiji that wants a better relationship and everything in return, really. So I guess what they want is a clear path to democracy.
Can you show them a clear path?
In the next maybe 2 weeks, we're still working on a clear path to democracy. And if they're talking about the dates and all that, that is going to come about in the next 2 weeks.
So you are going to put forward in the next 2 weeks a timetable.
Timetable.
Which leads to your election in 5 years.
In 5 years.
But not to an election this year.
No, not an election this year.
So there's no point in negotiating over that. They need to understand.
They need to understand. There are a hell of a lot of changes that we need to come up with before we have an election. And it's not an overnight thing, unfortunately for them.